You've had a long 2 days, but congratulations. And I say this, I mean it. We take a lot of abuse in this city. Before you, it was rough. And even since you've taken over, the pro-Hamas, all these people, we see some unrest in the streets. So I was very happy today to see the New York Post write a complimentary article about how L.A. should take a lesson from you on what you're doing here in New York. So basically, congratulations.
Thank you, but all credit on this goes to the men and women, John Schell and the men and women of the New York City Police Department and Eric Adams, who has had their backs since long before I was police commissioner.
That's true. But, he's had their backs all these years, and we've still had unrest and problems. I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest here, I'm still unhappy about certain things, but I can't argue that you guys this week have done a great job, and some of the prior issues, they're getting better. So, yes, while the mayor has had that for years, he's had 4 different police commissioners, and I did like 2 of them a lot, but it's getting done now. So you can take the credit. It's okay.
Oh, well, thank you. But the mayor was incredibly clear with us over the weekend that he was not going to tolerate violence, chaos, disorder on our streets, that he is obviously wants to support everyone's First Amendment right and their rights to protest, but that the New York City Police Department would not let things get out of hand under his leadership.
It's interesting. I watched you on TV about 2 months ago with Maria Bartiromo. She's got the best show on Sundays. I love Maria.
Isn't she great?
She's fantastic, and she loves you. And she did ask you about the mayor's race. And I'm sitting in my living room in Rockaway going, she's going to say Adams. And you didn't. You elected to say, hey, listen, that's not my thing. A commissioner, police commissioner, I'm not getting involved in political talks. But I'm not going to lie to you. I expected you to say, because you are backing the mayor, and the mayor did put you in this position, I thought you were going to say Eric Adams. You didn't do that. Now, this is 2 months later. Are you endorsing anybody now in this election?
So I think as a public servant, it is inappropriate for me to talk about who I am voting for. But what I will say is I have worked in city government. I'm almost at 18 years now. And under Mayor Eric Adams, we have done some of the most extraordinary things of my career. He has been willing to do things that are bold, that are politically hot potatoes, but they are the right thing to do, and he's put his full support behind them. I mean, asking every New Yorker to put their trash instead of in gross garbage bags on the street into containers. Yeah. No mayor has done that in 50 years. Right. And his support of the police before it was chic or cool or even acceptable to support the police, he has been unwavering in it.
He has, and Chief John Schell, you know that. You're very close with the mayor.
Say, look, the commissioner just said it, working for the man 3 years. How well we do with the protests last couple of nights is indicative of how he's let us do our job. He does not, unless he holds us accountable, he wants everything done legally, but he allows us to do our job. He doesn't Monday morning quarterback it. We are understaffed, no doubt about it, and how hard these cops work in the last 2 nights is indicative of that, and it shows the country what we can do in the NYPD, and we do it well. And the commissioner said, and I agree. We talk about it. Those young cops out there last night, they do about it, and they're keeping the city safe.
Oh, listen, anybody who says something bad about the NYPD, I think should be put in prison, maybe tarred and feathered. I don't care, kill them. Being serious.
You said that, not us.
I did say that, and I say it every day. I love you guys, I do. But, part of the criticism over the years was that, you guys have been handcuffed. The rumors about Keyshawn Sewell. She walked away because Adams and Banks didn't let her do her job. And the cops have been handcuffed. There's no immunity here. And the politicians bash them. And sometimes the politicians aren't quick enough to rush and say, hey, our guys are doing a good job. So it's interesting to hear now that you guys feel like you've got all this support, because the average guy on the street, he doesn't feel that way.
Well, I will say I feel like the police have the full support of our mayor, which is refreshing and wonderful. When we talk about handcuffing the police, I think we need to look at our city council and our state legislature, who have passed criminal justice laws that make no sense whatsoever, and that they are legislating against public safety. And it's time to see that change. I mean, the criminal justice system has been rendered a revolving door for recidivists. And my sense is New Yorkers have had enough.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
But that becomes frustrating for you, John. You arrest a guy. You're like, well, I'll give you an example, John. A couple nights ago, Noam does the news, goes, 82 arrests last night. Don't be offended, okay, Jess? I go,
I'm not.
so what? There could be 8,000 arrests. They're not going, this is not the J6 rioters. They went to jail for 6 years. They're out in 50. The next day, they're right back on the streets wearing a different hat. Today it's anti-ICE. Tomorrow it's pro-Hamas. Doesn't matter. They're right back on the streets. Isn't that frustrating for you?
Oh, it's terribly frustrating. And I was watching an outlet the other night, and I was listening to the governor of Florida. They have laws set up in that state that are very strong on people who protest, blocking traffic. If we had it up here,
I know.
it's called consequences.
I know.
It would be more than the summons. And you don't see these things in Florida.
No.
I wish we had it here in this state. That's probably not going to happen in our lifetime.
Part of that is because it's Ron DeSantis. He's a Republican. Like I've seen, Jess, I've seen these kids at schools, Columbia here, all these schools, and you guys did a great job. You did what you can do. Down there at FAU, they punch these people across the face. They don't care. It's not, hey, listen, they got their First Amendment right. I mean, I do think, Jess, to your point about First Amendment, I think it's been perverted a little bit. I do. I don't think that holding up a sign, for example, that says October 7th was a great day, that's not the First Amendment. I mean, it is hate speech, and you know that hate speech, what does that do? Hate speech brings on violence. So I do think the definition of the First Amendment has been perverted a bit in some of our cities.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. Hate speech can lead to violence, although we follow our lawyers' lead on what is considered First Amendment protected speech or not. But as it relates to hate speech, you're 100% right. We have seen since October 7th the rhetoric shift from outrage to incitement, from slogans to direct calls for violence. And so I was not surprised, and no one should be surprised that over the past month, we've seen these two horrific attacks, one in Washington, D.C., in front of the Jewish Museum, the other in Boulder, Colorado.
I'm looking at your Jewish star. I think it's bigger than mine. I'm offended. I'm not going to lie to you. Let me see. Yeah, that is a beautiful. Where'd you get that?
My mother.
Your mom?
Yep.
See, I bought this in Israel, but yours is beautiful.
Thank
that is
you.
huge.
I'm looking at the star, but the workout.
I know you like the chest.
As a matter of fact, I was just go on a topic.
Where's your Jewish star, by the way, John?
Well, it's coming on Amazon. I ordered it.
I'm going to give him a loaner.
But listen, just because now I looked at your chest, you need this.
What is this?
Heavy protein for pecs. I mean,
yeah. Now, is the commissioner even? Do you know what happened to me here with this guy about a month ago?
I don't. But if you need me to take care of him, I
will. No, it's a beautiful thing.
Oh,
which
good,
thing
good.
we talk? We talk at the first thing and the second thing.
The third thing. So I helped out with the sergeants and the contract and all that a little bit. Vince Vallalon called the show. He was upset.
God bless you.
So thank you. So I actually work for you. I am an official sergeant in the NYPD. I got a badge and everything.
Where's the badge? Throw it out.
I couldn't find it. I know. You're expecting 16 protests in the city today?
Yeah. Look, when you look back at even the last 2 years, we're right around 6,000 protests. You do the math on that. I hope I'm not wrong. I didn't do well in my SATs, but we probably averaged about 12 a day for the last couple of years. And the point is, and some are small, like some could be 10 people, 500 people.
But what are they protesting about?
Whatever.
Whatever, okay.
Protest everything.
Right. Aaron Rodgers went to the Steelers, let's protest.
Yeah, but the point is, like, the NYPD, this city does not sleep. We don't close at 2 in the morning.
Right.
We're 24 hours, 8.4 million people. We have a pager. We could do a whole show on our pager, what goes on.
All night long.
Oh, we sleep with our phones next to our beds. My wife just looks at me like I'm out of my mind.
Yeah, well, I do too, but I keep because I get up at 3 o'clock. I don't want the alarm to go off. So does your phone beep like all night, Jessica, every night?
It does, but just picking up on the last point, there was all this talk about National Guard going into California, and the mayor and I and Chief Shelby went out there and we were like, the NYPD is expert in policing protests. It's our responsibility to keep the streets safe, and we will never abdicate that responsibility. But my point was, like, this is what these guys do. We have a whole unit, our strategic response group. Basically all they do, or a lot of what they do, is policing these daily protests, which have really gone up in number since October 7th, so for the past 20 months.
Right. When you look back, though, at the early days, and you guys have done a great job, there are less rallies, there are less people, But for about an 18-month period before you took over, Jess, it was scary, okay? I walked the streets and I was scared. And I'm a tough guy, but I was scared. You look back now, do you think, as much as you don't need the National Guard now, that maybe in the past they could have helped?
Well, you have to ask Chief Shell that because he was at the department for it.
Look, we love the National Guard, but we're a team of 34,000 strong uniforms, and so
Right.
we have a very large contingent of cops, and the commissioner said we're very well trained, and we do a lot of after action too. We don't just like we'll look at LA right now. We'll never critique LA because we're not there. We support our brothers and sisters.
Yeah, but you love the fact that you guys getting they're out messing. You guys getting compliments.
No, absolutely not.
You probably cut out all the clippings
Listen,
in your house.
Look, as a cop, or as a boss, as a chief, my first reaction is I wish I can go out there and help them. That's my inclination.
Can you?
If they needed, they called. Yeah, if they say, can you come out here?
Yeah, because I remember
we'll come help
during
you.
the fires in California, they never reached out to Robert Tucker. It made no sense.
Yeah, we do mutual aid in the city of New York
You do?
all the time. And if that was needed, of course, we would lend assistance.
Okay, you would lend. So let's talk about some of these numbers. Jessica Tisch here and John Schell. For the first 5 months of this year, January through May, this is big. Shootings and murders were at the lowest level. You ready for this? Ever.
In recorded history.
In recorded history.
Love
And
it.
you're talking about
So
over 30 years.
It's 1993 when you run around poly prep, basically.
Yeah, that was 85, believe it or not. We just had the safest May on record for shootings and murders, lowest number in 32 years. June is off to a great start, too. What do you, Commissioner, attribute that to?
First, our cops are doing an unbelievable job. Second, I think we have the right strategy in place right now. We know where the violence occurs in this city, and we have flooded those parts of the city with cops. This is precision policing. And frankly, when you have 34,000 cops and you used to have closer to 40,000 cops.
Do we need that now, though? We still need 40,000, you think?
Oh, the mayor has told me that we can hire as many cops as we can find.
Right.
The issues around our staffing numbers have nothing to do with budgetary issues. It has to do, in my opinion, with 5 years of vile anti-police rhetoric, legislating against the police that has made this next generation of young people less interested in becoming police officers, not just in New York City, but around the country. And it is time to swing this pendulum back towards a profession that I see as one of the most noble undertakings.
Well, you
anyone
talk
could
about
pursue.
that, John, because you're out there every day. You've been in the streets. So, being a cop in New York, is it a great job or not?
The best. And let's talk about the law changes, all these crazy laws, defund the police, qualified immunity, diaphragm law. Remember, I've seen the cop getting the water porters. Those days are over, and the cops are working hard. The mayor will hire as many cops as we can get, but the commissioner's right. We got to convince people this is a noble. I mean, what a job this is! You raise a family, meet friends, you help people.
Yeah.
And the ship is turning. What the police is not telling you is every morning we meet at 10 o'clock. And we just every morning religiously.
I want to meet at 9, but they sleep in a little bit.
10 o'clock is late.
I'm coming from Staten. We got to see people coming from God knows where on Long Island.
Okay, all right.
But the point
I thought maybe you were just keeping up the old Bill de Blasio schedule.
But
We'll meet at 12.
But the point is, a combination of the mayor letting us do a job, the combination of the police commissioner being on top of this every morning. So we're moving fast.
Yeah.
We're making adjustments real time. Yeah, we're all over the place. But the bottom line, you can see now the ship is turning. And, that's the most
I
important.
definitely see it. I do want to talk about quality of life, though. This is a big thing for you. We talk about subway crime. I'm going to say some graphic words here, Delaney, so just close your ears, okay? When I get on the subway, I'm not nervous somebody's going to punch me or throw me in front of a moving train. I'm not, okay? Or stab me. But almost every day, somebody's half naked. I've seen people masturbating on the train often. Sorry, that's a bad word. But to me, that's quality of life.
It is.
Okay, well, I'm still seeing a lot of that.
I understand. And so what we started to do, let me just back up a second. If you look historically, about 8 years ago, the New York City Police Department stopped enforcing the very basic rules in the transit system. No drinking in transit, no smoking in transit, no laying outstretched in transit, no masturbating in transit. We just
Is that actually on the
stopped-
books? Is that word?
No, but you mentioned it. We just stopped enforcing those very basic rules that exist on our transit system. And so what happened is those things are what give people the sense of chaos and disorder.
That's right.
In transit. And so we worked with our DAs. We started with the great DA, Melinda Katz in Queens, and we said, we are going to enforce the rules of the transit system, the very basic rules of transit in Queens. And she said, great, I'll be your partner. We'll work with you. We started doing it in Queens. Queens looked incredibly different in transit. Then we moved to Brooklyn. Now we are working with Manhattan. And as of today, our cops are out there enforcing the rules of the transit system every day. And in my opinion, that is going to make a real dent in how the subways feel, because I agree with you. No one wants to be the victim of a violent crime. And yes, the police have to focus on violent crime, but we also have to focus on the things that give people the perception of lack of safety.
Also, my kid, when he was 7, he saw that. He's never really recovered. What do you want to say?
That's the reality of it. And you're a strap hanger, and you're talking perception, and we're talking reality. And what we're finding, we're almost getting double bang for our buck in terms of the people that we're trying to write a summons to, we can't. You know why?
Why?
Because they want for another crime. They have a warrant. They want for a crime. And then we look at who we're trying to write summonses to.
Yeah.
I think a third are convicted felons. I think a majority of transit offenders, they're repeat offenders in transit.
Yeah.
So we hit the mark. The commissioner hit the mark with this, and that's the reality and the perception piece that changes people's mind, and that's what it is.
And outside the subway, too, like you shouldn't be allowed to urinate in the street. I don't care how drunk you are. And we'll say this, too. The smell of weed on every single block. I mean, I'm not,
But those are law changes that were made in the city of New York. Those were decisions that our legislators made. That is less a policing issue at this point.
More of an Albany issue.
Albany, city council, both.
Yeah. No, you're right. But otherwise, when you look at the numbers and the rest of this stuff, and the quality of life we just talked about, it does feel like, to your credit, it does feel like things are changing in this city.
So I told you what we were doing in the subway. And by the way, when we started enforcing those rules in Queens, people would come up to the cops and be like, hey, can you go to Union Square and do an insane
They said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's incredibly popular. But we're not just doing it below ground. We have launched a new quality of life division at the NYPD to do it above ground as well. The idea being the police have always been excellent at responding to 911 calls for service. My opinion, we had some room to improve in our response to 311 calls for service.
Right.
But those are the things that give people the sense of chaos and disorder. E-bikes careening down the street, loud noise from parties, unruly vending.
Yeah.
The police need to be responsive to that. So we have reorganized the resources of the department to create groups that we are going precinct by precinct that are responsive only to 311.
That's fantastic. Some of these bikes go the wrong way down these streets, and they end up killing people.
Probably our biggest quiet life complaint 2 years ago was these mopeds and dirt bikes.
Yeah.
We took about 90,000, and these ghost cars. We took about 90,000 on the street. Then 1A was the smoke shops. And like the commissioner said, we have to follow law. We don't make them up. We closed about 1,500. So check that box. Now quality of life in terms of just getting back to people. So 911, now we got 3-1 responses. Getting back to Mrs. Jones, say, Mrs. Jones, hey, well, how can we help you? And sometimes you don't have to fix the problem. Maybe can't. Maybe it's beyond us. But just the fact that we got back to her makes her feel so much better. And again, we're just kind of encapsulating this whole thing. And we got a lot of work to do, but we're doing very well.
Yeah. And last time you were on, Jess, I don't know if you remember, but you were a commissioner. But you were the sanitation commissioner.
Yes.
You remember that?
I do.
It was like a Woman's Day here. We were celebrating great women, and she was on. But she was a sanitation commissioner. So it's your first time as the NYPD commissioner.
It is.
Has this been, because you look like you're enjoying yourself.
I am.
And you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Has this job been everything you could have dreamed about?
I've spent most of my career at the NYPD. I did 12 years at the department, and then I left for 5
Right.
To be sanitation commissioner, other things. So I knew what I was getting into, but I will say it is truly the honor of my life to lead the New York City Police Department. And I see in this job truly the worst of the city every day: tragedy, crime, terrible things. But talking to the cops, being able to tell everyone about their incredible work, they are the best of the city.
Yeah.
Good.
Are you composting in Rockaway?
Oh, stop.
No,
it's funny.
I just want to know.
No.
The 130s in Rockaway. I just want you. See the garbage cans with the rubber clip.
I know how it works.
Do you have the garbage cans?
I got 6 garbage cans.
Did you buy the set? Not Home Depot
I
stuff.
bought the right thing. But I'm going to be honest here.
I'm going to hit the button.
No,
right here.
I'm going to be honest in front of you and the commissioner. If you think that after getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and getting home at like 6 at night, that I actually rummage through my garbage and make sure that the right garbage is in the right bag.
Look, I'm good as long as you put it in a container and
It's in a
not in
container.
bags on the street.
I'm going to be like
really
Hardy
beyond
Gallo.
that.
Is the answer yes or no? You have the proper
I have
garbage
yes.
cans?
Danielle bought them. My wife. You know she's good like that.
I
Danielle.
walk around the streets taking pictures of people's garbage cans because I think this trash revolution where we're putting trash in the containers is like the most exhilarating thing going in this
And
city.
it's so easy. Just put the trash in a container.
And civilized.
Right. How's the rat problem in the city? Is that
So the rat numbers are the only thing better than our shooting and homicide numbers in New York City. Historically, the rat numbers only go in one direction, and that is up.
Right.
This year to date, they are down 20%. I get those rat numbers every morning at 5 a.m. The crime numbers come in at 6 a.m. And between the two, what a joy it is to wake
Listen,
up.
you know
these
the
days.
ending theme song to today's segment has to be Ben.
Ben by Michael Jackson?
You're going to have to cue up Ben in there.
We're going to we'll let you guys go in a second. You know, all the great work you've done here, Jess. You heard the rumors, okay? I get text messages from people all over the city. They go, because, I know all these politicians. They go, your friend Tish, she'd run for mayor? I said, I haven't texted her yet today. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow I'll text her. But there is that rumor out there that you'd be interested one day.
Public servant, not a politician.
All right, there you go. That's that. Thank you.
You announced this morning you were running in 2028.
29.
On a Sid and Friends ticket.
That's right. If Curtis loses and we have no Republicans in 29, then I'll be forced to run for... will I get your endorsement, John?
I'll ride shotgun too. I'll just...
Well, it is great to have you all in here. I was saying to John this morning, I go, all the great cops are in my studio right now. No, you got like 32,000 on the streets.
I have to go to the hospital after this. When I was kung fu fighting in the window, I definitely pulled a hamstring.
Jessica, it's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Continued success. You're doing a terrific job. And most New Yorkers, a lot of us, appreciate what you do every day. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you. John, you're a great man. Great to see you, too.
Well, happy Father's Day to
Thank
you.
you.
You definitely demonstrated how you've been shunned on Father's Day, and you seem to corrected that in the Rosenberg household. That's all.
We're good now. We're going to Spumoni Gardens on Saturday. That's a big deal. So we love that.
I used to be the commander over there.
Yeah. You like that place in Brooklyn, Jess? You know it?
Yes. my kids did nothing for me on Mother's Day, so I was just thinking about how lovely it is for you to have such a nice Father's Day. God bless.
Thank you. And Delaney, it's great to meet you, too. She should get a raise. She's terrific, this young lady. Thank you, guys. That is Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch and, of course, the Chief of Department, John Schell.